Okay, it's on now. So you can go ahead and say good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so that's how it works.
All right.
And we're
Good.
gonna say come right here. And you're gonna say come right here. Peace and joy. Go ahead and say it. Say it.
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Go ahead. So you shall come and you shall know.
Okay. Yeah, let's not do it yet so people are surprised. You guys have paint all over you. All right.
Good morning. My name is Jan Shay, and I'm so glad to be here serving as your worship associate today. On behalf of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, I welcome you to this morning's hybrid service, whether you're joining us virtually or here in the sanctuary. If you are new to First Unitarian, I invite you to check out our website, firstuuwilm.org, to learn more about us and to sign up for our email newsletter. Slide, please. If you're joining us online and you're interested in learning more about our congregation's ongoing activities, you will find a link in our chat that leads you to a brief form enabling you to sign up for our e-newsletter. First Unitarian Church is a welcoming congregation. We affirm the worth and dignity of all, no matter your racial or ethnic identity, pronouns or gender expression, sexual orientation, family structure, income, immigration status, language, size, or abilities. You are welcome here. Now, I get to talk today about one of the most exciting things of my year here at First U. Our second annual Songs and Sundays concert is coming up next Sunday at 2 p.m. Those of you who were here last year may remember it's a really fun, family-friendly event. And this year's theme is Movie Music Matinee. And of course, there's no movie music matinee without popcorn. So we're not only having Sundays, we're having popcorn and lots of good music from the First U Choir. And we do this to thank you all for your support over the years and for your donations to Counterpoint and for all the other ways that you cheer us on. And now, I invite you to turn to the camera over here and wave to everyone who's joining us virtually. And now please greet those around you. And now let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
That was just wonderful. I'm just letting the music I'm wanting to savor the music just a little longer and also savor the singers who are just so wonderful. So, did you notice I brought a basket up here with me? Now, some of you might wonder, what's that basket for? We're not doing the offering right now. That comes later. But this is a particular kind of basket. Do you want to know what kind of basket it is? It is an asket basket. Say that after me. So you might have a basket like this in your house. I don't know. But an asket basket is a place where you might write down or draw a question that you might have, and it gets collected in the basket. Who has an asket basket at home? You do? Okay. So our congregation actually is a place that doesn't actually need a basket to ask questions, but it's a nice reminder to us that this is a place where we get to ask questions. And we might not always know the answers to the questions, but we will sit alongside of you and discover together some responses to those questions. So the parents that are here today are going to love my suggestion that you have an asket basket at home, that at any time, any one of you, adult or children, have a question, to collect it in your asket basket. And then find a time at a mealtime, perhaps, where you pass the basket around and read the questions together. So our call to worship was written by Reverend Fred Rogers, who some of us know as Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Who's ever heard of Mr. Rogers? Okay, so Mr. Rogers wrote this. Did you know that it is all right to wonder? That there are all kinds of wonderful things? You can ask a lot of questions about the world and your place in it. Did you know when you wonder, you're learning? Did you know that when you marvel, you're learning and you're growing? So we join together in this worship as another opportunity for wondering together, learning together, marveling together, and growing together. Is this our song? Chalice lighting, okay. Great. And then we just need to.
Come into the circle of love and friendship. Come into the community of justice and goodness. Come and you shall know. Faith, peace, and bliss.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we will now do our opening hymn, our opening song. Please stand in body or in spirit as we join together in song that also has some movements to it. Okay? So you'll notice, you'll catch on so easily. So this movement is with us, before us. Oh, it's going to be so easy. To the right of us, behind us, to the left of us, your left, above us, and below us, and with us. So let's join with the singer who will appear on the video, and the words will as well, as we sing together our opening song.
Peace be with me, Peace before me, peace to the right of me, peace behind me, peace to the left of me, peace above me, peace below me, peace within. Peace be with you, peace before you, peace to the right of you, peace behind you, peace to the left of you, peace above you, peace below you, peace within. Peace be with us, peace before us, peace to the right of us, peace behind us, peace to the left of us, peace above us, peace below us, peace within. Peace be with us, peace before us, peace to the right of us, peace behind us, peace to the left of us, peace above us, peace below us, peace within. Peace within, peace within, peace within.
And now please join me in our unison affirmation. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
So Catherine and I are going to share a time for all ages. These words were written by a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, the Reverend Fred Small, and they're captured in an earlier version of a song entitled Everything is Possible. So we're going to share some of the verses, and then there's a place where you come in and sing along with the choir, and you'll see those words on the screen. Ready? Ready? Yes. Okay. Catherine.
We have cleared off the table, the leftovers are stored, washed the dishes and put them away. I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, we will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. Now please join in singing along with the choir.
Be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you love. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and no one will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one.
Some children grow up strong and bold, and some are quiet and kind. Some race on ahead, some take it slow. Some go in their own way and time. Some men love women, some women love men. Some women love women, some men love men. Some leave every label behind. Some raise children, and some never do.
You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible you'll find. Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games, but seek out spirits true. If you give your friends the best part of yourself, they will give the same back to you.
You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done.
And now, please join in singing our children out as they go to their group rooms. Please wait for me at the door.
So let us gather our hearts and our minds and our spirits together as we join in a time of prayerful meditation. Let us hold in this space and in our collective hearts all those that we are called to pray with on this day. I'm thinking of those who have especially been impacted by the hurricanes, the most recent hurricanes. One, it seems, right after the other. Let's pray with the real loss and death that has come from those events for some. Let's pray with the grief that some are holding over the loss of loved ones, of homes, of places to live, businesses, and communities. Let's pray with those who face an uncertain future. Let's pray for those who are helping, who are finding ways to be with those who are suffering, who are struggling, and who are in need. Let's take a moment and hold those, all of those that are impacted and those who are helping in a prayerful, caring, and compassionate way. We cannot know the extent of the suffering and the pain and the loss and the uncertainty, but we can pray with you. And on Sunday, October 27th, we will have a special collection as part of the Unitarian Universalist disaster relief effort to help those in those areas that have been most affected, and you'll hear more about that. So we'll turn our prayer into action. And during this time prior to the election, we want to turn our prayerful attention to those in our country who feel especially vulnerable during this upcoming national election. We will explicitly pray with and not just pray for those who we know are holding some particular uncertainty or fear in this time. Since this last Friday was National Coming Out Day, we want to think especially of our lesbian and gay and transgender and queer siblings. Bring their faces and their names to your own heart in this moment. Surround them with care and be with them during this time. So as we conclude our time of prayerful meditation, we will view this short video, I Was Born This Way. The video uses artwork from a collection called Queer Icons. It's a series by Gabriel Garcia Roman. Roman takes photos of queer, trans people of color, indigenous people, activists and artists, and transforms them into portraitures that resemble traditional religious paintings. So in a prayerful way, let's view this video created by Reverend Matthew McHale as a way to do our shared silence with open eyes today.
My mama told me when I was young, we're all born superstars. She rolled my hair and put my lipstick on in the gloss of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you're set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Give yourself prudence and love your friends. Subway kid, rejoice the truth. In the religion of the insecure, I must be myself, respect my youth. A different lover is not a sin, believe capital H-I-M. I love my life, I love this record, and mi amore vole fire. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you're set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. No matter gay, straight or bi, lesbian, transgender life, I'm on the right track. yourself and you're set. I'm on the right track. Baby, I was born this way.
So we add to these prayers our own personal prayers, what we're holding in our own heart for ourselves, for those we love, and for our world. So let's take a moment and think about who it is that has our heart's attention on this day. What is it that is weighing us down so that we might attend first to that and then share as you would like to in this room or in the chat. So let's take a moment first to attend to the cares and the concerns of our own heart.
The UUs of Vero Beach, Florida.
Okay, what other things would you like to speak aloud in this room? So let's symbolically hold our hands out like this to feel the weight of our concerns. Not just our own, but the concerns of others. And let's symbolically bring them to our heart for a moment. What joys are bubbling up or whispering to you, even in the midst of concerns and cares and sorrows? Are there some joys that, like the rays of the sun, are breaking through and want to be heard and received by you today? If you want to speak some of those joys in the room or in the chat, please do so now. Say that again? Oh, yeah.
The joy of seeing friends reunited. Fall colors.
Seeing people who've been away for a while back here, sitting among us. So may all the names that were spoken and those unspoken find peace and healing this day. My reflections today are entitled Curiosity, Creativity, and Collaboration. We don't always determine a singular life path and stay with it throughout our lives, right? You can respond, right? We often develop different interests, try different things, and go through what some have called a sampling period before we settle on a purpose, a job, or a vocation that we may eventually devote ourselves to. In trying on different roles and engaging in different activities, even if in the same general area, we discover who we are, what our commitments are, and what our passions are, and we discern what the world is calling us to do. We are a faith community of people in various life stages, so I suspect that some of us have been through this sampling period more than once, more than a few times, like several times, still going. And others of us may be right in the midst of a fresh sampling period of life, discernment, and direction. It's estimated, actually, that contemporary young people could change jobs as many as 15 times over the course of their lifetime. And given the rapid changes in technology that we are experiencing, they may eventually be in jobs that actually haven't even been created yet. Whether we are younger or older, I'll leave it to you to decide. It often feels to me that our active engagement with our lives, or even the moment that we are in as a culture, as society, can sometimes feel like turning the base of a kaleidoscope. This image is one that I have often used to describe the changes that are often implicit in our lives and in our world, the changes that can sometimes seem to happen as quickly as the turning of a base of a kaleidoscope. I discovered I wasn't wrong, and I wasn't the only one in thinking about that as a metaphor. So I looked up other reflections on the kaleidoscope as a metaphor, and I came across what one author described in this way. The dynamic nature of the patterns in the kaleidoscope symbolize unpredictability and transience, much like how our days differ. Symmetry in the design represents moments when we are in complete harmony with ourselves and with the universe around us. And of course, the author continues, things fall apart sometimes, but they may be back together even if in a different pattern, much like the stunning art of a kaleidoscope. I suspect that many of us have at one time or another have felt both those aspects of the metaphoric understanding of a kaleidoscope, times of harmony when things seem to be coming together, and times when things seem to be breaking apart before something new emerges. There are those periods of harmony within ourselves and our world. There are those times, like the subtle turning of the base of a kaleidoscope, when the patterns of our lives are in flux and are emerging. And at times, these moments when things are shifting or on the edge can definitely feel like things are falling apart. What I want to propose to us today, it is how we approach those inevitable moments in our lives or in our society that matters most. In her best-selling book, When Things Fall Apart, Heart Advice for Difficult Times, I know some people are already ordering it on Amazon before I've even finished the sentence, the Buddhist teacher, Pema Chodron, offers this one perspective on those moments of disorientation or disruption of our routine or the familiar. She offers this: letting there be room for not knowing is the most important thing of all. When there's a big disappointment, we don't know if that's the end of the story, she writes. It may be just the beginning of a great adventure. Life is like that, she says. We don't know anything. We call something bad, we call it good. But really, we don't know. Those moments of harmony can be subtle and profound. I believe that we have the potential to be created and recreated as well in those moments of disruption where things feel like they're falling apart. If we can be with those times of shifting and changing and uncertainty until some new pattern emerges. We don't get ahead of ourselves. We're in it. We can learn from it. We can discern what is, what can be, and what's next. So let's take a moment of reflection now to remember and to remind ourselves of both types of experience. You might, in your right hand, imagine gathering whatever glimmers of memory we might have of harmony. As if we're gathering them in our right hand and holding them lightly as if they were feathers. Just recall them without engaging them or taking time to engage each memory. Just collect those moments of harmony as they occur to you. We might say to ourselves, oh yes, there was that time. And oh yes, there was this time. And there was this time when I felt some symmetry, some harmony in my life. So take a moment and gather like feathers in your right hand those memories of harmony and symmetry in your life. They may be as light as feathers, but I hope there have been some experiences like that for you. And now let's gather whatever slivers of memory we might have of those moments of disruption in our lives, what Pema Chodron calls things falling apart. Again, without engaging with each memory, let's collect those memories in our imagination like drops of water in our left hand, not grasping them, not just feeling their presence and acknowledging them. So let's take a moment and gather those slivers of moments in our lives where there have been some disruption and let them flow like water through our left hand, not to hold on to them, but just to acknowledge them. Let's both hold harmony and disruption. And from the center of our awareness, may we indeed realize that we have been shaped by both types of experiences. And from our compassionate heart, we might also come to understand, most often retrospectively, that what may have seemed like an ending at the time could have also been, as Pema Chodron offers, a beginning in some new way. For many of us, this time that we are in our society provokes a particular kind of anxiety. Am I overstating that? Okay. Collectively, we are in a time of uncertainty about the future of our country prior to the upcoming election, during the election, and following the election. And at times it can feel like things are falling apart, and at the same time, it can feel like something new wants to emerge. How we approach these times in our lives on the personal or the collective level is helpful for us to observe. So in preparing for my reflections today, I discovered an unexpected teacher, one who spent a lifetime trying to demonstrate how to approach and interact with these moments that comprise our life. Fred Rogers best known as the creator and host of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, a show that aired from 1968 through 2001. It's a lot of decades. Lots of episodes, perhaps hundreds. Ostensibly, the program was aimed at children. Intentionally, the program was also aimed at the parents, the grandparents, the caregivers, and teachers of children as well. And retrospectively, there was something in the way that Fred Rogers approached the experiences of joy and uncertainty, of fascination and frustration in children that can also be aimed at us, particularly in these times, in this moment, when we can all be experiencing a combination of joy and uncertainty, a combination of fascination and frustration. Perhaps Mr. Rogers could be a teacher for us, even at this stage in our life. In fact, Mr. Rogers had one of those kaleidoscopic type of experiences and that turned his life around and upside down. In his senior year in college, he went home for a visit to his parents. I think it was late 1940s, and he discovered that they had made a new purchase. As many homes at the time were doing, they had in a central place in the living room a television set. Rogers had a revelation at that moment. He was all set to go to seminary to become a Presbyterian minister, and he eventually did, but he saw a possibility of using television as a way to reach children in a more powerful, meaningful way than just having TV characters throwing pies at each other or hitting each other over the head with bats. Instead, he went to New York for a year and studied filming and television production. And when he did go on to seminary, he shared with his professors what he really wanted to do. So one professor connected him to Margaret McFarland, who's a child psychologist, educator, professor at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine in psychiatry. And their collaboration lasted for years. So as the authors Greg Bear and Ryan Rizdesky, of a recent book, When You Wonder, You're Learning, Enduring Lessons for Raising Creative, Curious, and Caring Kids, point out, today, we tend to remember his gentle warmth and kindness. But Fred Rogers was also more than a nice guy in a cardigan. In fact, what made Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood so effective in the first place had less to do with Fred Rogers, the television host, than it did with his ingenious application of the learning process. An accomplished scholar in his own right, Rogers worked with the leading minds of his day, including world-famous pediatricians and psychologists and child development experts, to ensure that everything children saw in the neighborhood enriched their lives and nurtured their growth as human beings. Such a task never gets old or outmoded. Whether we are parents or grandparents or neither, whatever age we are, I firmly believe that the task before us is to be good stewards of this world that we are creating for the next generations that follow us. I believe that we need to address what needs to be addressed and our own responsibilities for passing on a legacy worthy of being inherited by our children and our young people who are in our midst now, and their children and young people, and their children and young people. In case any of us have the temptation to feel, I've done my part, it's time for the younger generation to take it from here. I want to offer this admonition from my friend Parker Palmer. He urges those of us who are older to not withdraw from serious engagement with the world, especially in the perilous times in which we are in. After all, we have played a big part in creating what the younger generation is inheriting, right? Yes? Instead, Palmer admonishes us to share, quote quote, share our experiences with younger folks in ways that can help them step up, not back. Let's walk alongside them as they do it anyway. And besides, each of us, no matter what our age or stage in life, can enrich our lives by cultivating what was central to Mr. Rogers as he demonstrated in each episode of his neighborhood. For him, the qualities of curiosity, creativity, and collaboration were the central ingredients to the life of the developing child as he demonstrated in his own life and for any one of us at each moment of our life as well. Those who viewed the show often and those who studied it recognized that there was a format to each episode of the neighborhood. As in everything else in the program, this was intentional. Rogers would first, of course, put on his cardigan sweater and his canvas shoes, and then proceed to show us around his house or the neighborhood to introduce a theme by demonstrating a curiosity about an object or a person that he would encounter. Likewise, in our own lives, we can approach each experience, especially familiar experiences or experiences that have become so familiar that we might not even notice them, as easy to take for granted experiences. We can approach those with a sense of curiosity and of wonder. Then the trolley takes us to make-believe. Here we are invited to engage the theme for the day with our creative imagination. As Rogers dealt with a wide range of themes: loneliness, bullying, divorce, death, anger. Themes that at that time were not common themes to talk with children about. And certainly parents often had a hard time talking with their children about. In this period of creative imagination through animation or puppets, and sometimes with such characters as King Friday the 13th, the Curious Prince Tuesday, the anxious Henrietta Pussycat, the mischievous Lady Elaine, and the timid Daniel Striped Tiger, and many others, approaches to this theme were explored through these various positions or attitudes towards the theme. Likewise, in our own lives, we might find ways to creatively engage with the facts of our life or the world around us, and perhaps we can experience the dynamics within us between our curious Prince Tuesday or our anxious Henrietta Pussycat or our mischievous Lady Elaine, you know who you are, and our timid Daniel Striped Tiger, recognizing that our own attitude towards the situation can oftentimes be expanded beyond the limitation, and we can imagine a new posture, a new possibility, always available to us. And the point is that alongside of our curious exploration of what is, there's also available to us the capacity to engage our creative imagination as a resource to explore what could be. Then, as the program continues, we take the trolley back to the real world, where together we unpack what it is we've seen. So after taking a curious approach to what is, engaging our creative imagination in what could be, we can begin to approach our life or our situation with an open and collaborative approach to discovering what's next. This making sense of things does not have to be done alone. We can gather with others to explore next steps. So those who have studied Rogers's work extensively can make connection between these qualities of curiosity, creativity, and collaboration and design of each interaction in the show. These are the qualities that we can intentionally cultivate, not just in our interactions with children, but in our interactions with ourselves and our neighbors, with others. Not just for the sake of what is, but for the sake of what could be. In fact, these qualities of curiosity, creativity, and collaboration may be needed more now than ever. Some of their research pointed out that as children grew through elementary schools, their capacity to ask questions, or the rate at which they ask questions, also went down. And so we might ask ourselves, how do we keep alive that curiosity in ourselves, our children, and one another? Because the quality of curiosity is a sacred one. It's so worthy of our cultivation. Rogers also tackled some of the big questions of his time, such as the civil rights issues of his time. In 1969, Rogers famously invited Francois Clemens, an opera singer, an actor, and gay black man who played Officer Clemens on the program, to join him in cooling their feet in a plastic swimming pool on a particularly hot day in the neighborhood. At that time, pools were proxies for Jim Crow. Where black bathers gathered, white supremacists left nails on pool floors, poured bleach in the water, and closed pools altogether. By contrast, Rogers takes an undeniable position in front of his camera and states, cool water on a hot day, helping Clemens also, and he helped Clemens dry his feet. Curiosity about even familiar or taken for granted situations or experiences in our lives, creative engagement through our use of imagination as we explore personal and social possibilities, and collaborative efforts to bring about what's next are indeed the qualities and the practices that we need in this time of disruption and uncertainty. Yet those are countervailing forces, countercultural forces, perhaps, in the times in which we live. Because I've noticed sometimes that instead of being creative, we're often lured to places of being reactive. Instead of being curious, we're often encamped in the territory of being judgmental. And instead of cultivating collaboration, we can often be led to withdrawal and division. So this is a place where we practice those disciplines, where we understand that as part of our Unitarian Universalist tradition, that these qualities are necessary for religious growth and development, and for the development of our wider culture. I'm going to just close with a quote that I'll abbreviate, from William Ellery Channing, considered one of the founders of the Unitarian movement in this country. He wrote, "The great end in religious growth is not to stamp our minds upon the young, or anyone else for that matter, but to stir up their own. Not to make them see with our eyes, but to look inquiringly and steadily with their own. Not to give them a definite amount of knowledge, but to inspire a fervent love of truth. Not to burden memory, but to quicken and strengthen the power of thought. Not to impose religion upon them in the form of arbitrary rules, but awaken the consciousness and the moral discernment. In the Word," Channing concludes, "the great end is to awaken the soul, to excite and cherish the ongoing spiritual life." Amen.
I'm especially happy to be here on this particular Sunday. I very recently moved and have for many weeks been quite fully immersed in the pre-move, the move, and the still ongoing post-move. And like all moves, it's been very challenging. and left me with time for little else. I came up against another time crunch this week in trying to get my pieces of today's service prepared. I knew I'd get it done over last weekend. No, wait, I mean Monday, Wednesday, but I may need a little time Thursday to finish up. I sent an apologetic email to Reverend Larry and to John Claney, the ever-patient coordinator of the order of service and accompanying slides, assuring them that I would have it done, but feeling guilty that I was keeping everyone waiting. John's answer was short and sweet. Moving is hard. Thursday is fine. 6 simple but immeasurably kind and understanding words that felt so good to hear. I put down the large imaginary stick that I'd been bashing myself with and took a very deep breath of pure relief. Thank you, John. During these weeks of moving hell, I had come to terms many times with my limitations as I fell further and further behind in my preparation. There were a lot of reasons for this. Some were from outside sources, others were just signs that I was no youngster anymore, and my ambitions were not matched by my current level of stamina. Thankfully, several First U friends jumped in to help me throughout my actual moving week. And without them, I would still be somewhere looking for one more empty box or taking yet another full carload to my new apartment. I tell this story, the most recent one, of countless experiences of kindness and caring shown towards me by my First U friends during challenging times, because I am so grateful for the caring community we are to one another, and I wanted to share just how much it means to me to be part of it. It's a balm for the aches and pains of life, and for the discomfort of feeling alone at such a chaotic time for our country and for the world. There is healing in community, and friendship, and support, and kindness, and love. Trying to assign monetary value to these lovely intangibles is, of course, impossible. But we do need to keep in mind that stewardship of our beautiful, beloved, very special community involves not only mutual support and caring, but also financial contributions and volunteer hours. And so I ask that we all do whatever we are able to do to keep First U thriving. Your generous contributions are received with gratitude. And now please join me in dedicating our offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
the candle, I am drawn to futures far. Lift my wings and let me fly. Let me fly closer to the flame. Like a moth drawn to the candle, I am drawn to future's fire. Lift my wings and let me fly. Let me fly closer to the flame. I'll fly closer to the flame. Ever closer to the flame. Face the future. Flying closer to the flame. Ever closer to the flame. Ever closer to the
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to extinguish it now, as I give you these words from Eric Hepburn. We extinguish this flame to remind us love is the center. As we explore and rest, engage and heal, love remains the center. When all we can see is cold ashes, love remains.
So we are far beyond the point where we can just announce all the various programs that we have in our congregation. There are over 20 or so different programs that we're offering over the next few months. Please pick up a live stream at First Unitarian Church of Wilmington brochure. Sally will be at the table today to answer any questions that you might have. These are opportunities for us, but they're also an outreach to our wider community, a way for us to engage in some of the social issues of our time, some of our personal growth issues, and our spiritual aspirations. This is a ministry of our congregation. I do want to mention a couple things that are happening this Sunday and next Sunday again. So this Sunday at 12 o'clock in the Warner Room, if you're new or not so new, if you are in a Soul Matters group or not, I do an abbreviated Soul Matters group called Soul Conversation on the theme of the month from 12 to 12:30 in the Warner Room. I'd love to meet you and gather with you then. Later today at 2, we are showing the film Bad Faith, Christians, Nationalism's Unholy War on Democracy. We showed it once in collaboration with the Poor People's Campaign. We're going to have just the film and just time for discussion afterwards at 2, which means you probably have to find some lunch somewhere and then join us at 2 o'clock for the film and discussion. Clarify for me, next Sunday is something called Songs and Sundays. By Sundays, do you mean like Sundays? Ice cream Sundays? You've got to come for that. You've got to be here for that. Okay. And then we will also have the Centering Sundays group next Sunday as well. Our benediction is short, comes from Reverend Mr. Rogers, Reverend Fred Rogers. Would you be my neighbor? So turn as we leave and look to someone and say, would you be my neighbor? Which means, can I invite you into that place of curiosity, that place of creative exploration, that place of collaborating together on our life path. Our final hymn is Let All the Beauty We Have Known Please rise as you are willing and able and join in our final hymn.